that we particularly use some of the easiest one. That's the first one is your repeater. Okay, so I already told you about this particular device in a repeater. So I'll tell you a little bit more about. Okay, so actually, what if actually what exactly is a repeater? So repeater uh, exactly, suppose this is a repeater that is connected, and these are your workstation that is connected in a particular LAN. Okay, so suppose this is a LAN 1 and this is your LAN 2. Okay, so there are particularly two LANs, and I used this repeater to connect. So what this repeater do, suppose if without this repeater, what happens is that these are the six devices that are connected again with each other. Okay, so this is your workstation A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay, so when you try to communicate with the A with E, so when you try to communicate A with E, what happens is that because it is really far away, the signal will start to lose its strength. Okay, so suppose is the signal is like this, when it has to travel a little bit far, it will the signal will lose its strength. Okay, so that is why I again used a particular device that is a repeater that repeats the signal again, repeats the signal. If repeater get the output of this signal, it will again repeat the particularly whatever it is receiving. Okay, so it is very important, which is very important that you decide where to put. It is very important that where to put the repeater. Suppose if signal is like this and you put a repeater here, so your main signal that come out of this repeater will also be like this. Okay, so suppose if your signal is like this, that it is very powerful in the starting, but after that it tries to lose its strength, and when you put a repeater there, so it will again repeat the same weak signal. Okay, so that is the problem. So it is very important to identify the place that where to connect the repeater. So you have to connect the repeater before the signal starts to get weak. Okay, so the advantage of a repeater, it only contains something called a physical layer. So this repeater is also known as a dumb device. Okay, so it is not intelligent one. So I'll tell you why it is called dumb device, but keep in mind that particularly what exactly is a LAN, and less than 10 kilometer you can call that you are particularly in a local area network. Around 100 kilometer you can call that you are in a metropolitan area network. Okay, metropolitan means a metropolitan city. Suppose 100 kilometer, that is around the whole city that is covering the internet. Okay, so if the network is greater than 100 kilometer, so it means that you are a part of a wide area network, also popularly known as internet. Okay, so now if you're seeing here in repeater, I am only talking about LAN. Okay, so the advantage of a repeater is you can increase the range of LAN. Okay, so the range of LAN can be increased by using a repeater. Okay, so that is the main advantage of it. Now, why it is called a dumb device is that suppose this is okay. I'll take an example here. So suppose this is your repeater. I'm talking about a repeater, and this is your devices. Okay, so this is three devices connected here. This is your repeater, and three devices are connected there. Okay, so now as you know, the we if you remember in a LAN, if I am in a LAN, I will talk about data link layer. Okay, so suppose this particularly this device want to communicate with this particular device C. Okay, so now what will happen, it will the A will transmit the signal towards B, and B will read that the destination frame is equal to me. If it is, the B will read the content of the message, but it is not, so it will discard the message and it will again go towards C. Now C will see that this particular destination station that is particularly same with me, so the destination station is equal to the destination. So when the packet, when the frame reaches C, it will look at the destination station and finds that it is meant for me, and then it look at the source station, and then it will read the contents of the message. That is fine. So if A wants to send a message to B, it will again use the same thing that I have already told you in DLL. And then what happens is that because this message will have to go through all the stations, so it will again go further, and it will reaches towards a repeater. Okay, so the repeater does nothing. It will again repeat the signal, and it will send the message to D, E, and then F. Okay, so eventually they will discard the message, but I will say that repeater is a dumb device because particularly the destination station has already received the message. Still, the repeater is again transferring this particular message across the other end of the LAN. Okay, so this is again a LAN 1. If this is a LAN 1, this is a LAN 2. So by the introduction of a repeater, I cannot call that that this particular device has helped me to decrease the traffic or to decrease any kind of a thing. So by the introduction of repeater, because it is a dumb device, it is not intelligent device. If it is an intelligent device, it has known that the packet is already received by the receiver, that is C. I do not need to repeat the signal. So that is why it is called a dumb device. Why I'm calling this a dumb device? But because it only has a physical layer. So it only deals with ones and zero. It does not know what exactly is these ones and zero. It just sees ones and zero and it just repeats the signal. The purpose of it is very, very similar. Okay. Now there is one other term called collision domain. Okay. So collision domain. So what exactly is the meaning of collision domain? So let's understand this by the same example. Suppose your devices are connected like this. This is your A, B, and C, D, E, F. Okay, so every workstation that is connected to this wire, I'm only talking about the wire. Every workstation that is connected to a wire in a LAN can send the signal, can put the signal on this wire. So that is very clear. That is very clear to you that any station that is present inside the LAN has the capability to send to put the signal, to put the message, to put the frame onto this particular wire. Any workstation, or not only any workstation has this particular permission to send the message to any other workstation that exists inside their LAN. Okay, so now what happens is that suppose at 11:01 every station tried to send a signal to every other station. Suppose A wants to send a signal to C, B wants to send a signal to D, and D wants to send a signal to C, and E wants to send a signal to F, and F wants to send a signal to E. So now at 11:01 a.m. all this is the worst case. This is the worst possible case that at the same amount of time everybody is trying to put a message onto the wire. Okay, so if everybody put the message onto the wire, then what happened, this because this is a single wire, there will be a collision between various signals. So this is a collision and nobody will receive their messages. Okay, so again the collision domain, how to solve the collision, everything, that there are various protocols, CSMACD, that particular thing is called access control. That is also the responsibility of data link layer, but I'm not talking about that particular thing. So just see that it can happen that collision can occur. So what exactly is a collision domain? So collision domains mean if there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, what is the possibility of these 6 devices to include in a collision? Out of these 6 devices, how many devices can include in a collision? So I can say that the collision domain here is 6 because all of the 6 devices can include in a collision. So it can happen that all of the devices at the particular time, that is 11:01, are sending a particular signal, are putting the signal onto the wire. So if everybody is putting the signal onto the wire, it's a wire is simple, it's a single wire, that is your baseband wire, not any other wire. So it can happen that this particular signal got collided with each other. It can happen. So the collision domain of this particular thing that I'm talking about, the collision domain means that how many how many devices at a particular instance are included in the or can participate in the collision. So that is why I'm saying that if the 6 devices are connected in a wire, there is no repeater, not anything. If 6 devices are connected with a wire, there is a particular, the worst case is that these 6 devices can participate in a collision. Okay, so if n devices are connected, if n devices are connected here, so the collision domain of this particular if in a wire will be again n. Okay, so the collision domain here is again, if n devices are, if 6 devices are connected, the collision domain is 6, meaning 6 devices can participate in a collision. If n devices are connected, the collision domain is n here. Okay, so now my question is, with the introduction of a repeater, so I introduced one thing, that is your repeater. Is the collision domain decreased? Is the collision domain increased, or something? Is there any change there? Okay, so okay, so you know that repeater does not have any functionality. Rather, it just repeats the signal. It does not amplifies it. Amplifier is a totally different thing. Amplifier means that this is a amplifier. Now, what amplifier do? It amplifies the signal. Okay, so what is amplify? So suppose this is the signal that is going towards the amplifier. Now, amplifier will increase the amplitude. It will increase the amplitude of the signal. So that is an amplifier, but repeater is not an amplifier. So whatever the signal the repeater is receiving, it will again repeat the same signal with same strength. It does not increase the strength, it does not decrease the strength. Whatever it is receiving, it is just repeats the same signal. Okay, keep in mind that do not consider amplifier as a repeater. Okay, so with the introduction of a repeater, if A wants to send a message, everyone wants to send a message, the repeater has no task there. The repeater will just transfer whatever the signal it is receiving towards the other end of the LAN. So if it is a LAN 2, if it is a LAN 1, whatever it is receiving from the LAN 1, it will transfer there. So suppose there some signals are there, and whatever it is getting from there, it is also there. Okay, so some signals are there. So inside the repeater, there is a chance of collision. On the wire, there is a chance of collision, because actually repeater does not have any capacity to store a signal. So if it does not have the capacity to store anything, so it means that it is just the signals are going through the repeater just as usual. Okay, so it is just maintaining the same thing, it is just not doing anything extra. So that is why the collision domain after introducing the repeater will remain the same. Keep in mind that by the introduction of a repeater, if you are communicating in a wire, the collision domain is n. With the introduction of a repeater, the collision domain does not change. Okay, so it can happen that whatever the devices that are connected to the that are connected in a LAN or also connected via repeater, that the whole devices can also be participate in a collision. So keep in mind that with the introduction of a repeater, there is no change in the collision domain. Okay, so that is the main task of a repeater. Keep in mind repeater. Yes, yes. Any
Sir,
other
like
question?
then what I'm actually gaining here if I'm not boosting the signal.
What?
But like what actually I am gaining here is the repeater is repeating the same signal with same amplification, like with same
Hmm.
amplitude. So I'm
Hmm.
not gaining anything. Like if voltage, like if for 150 meter, if my voltage is dropping by some amount, and
Hmm.
then repeater is repeating the same voltage difference, then I am not gaining anything. Then it will
Yeah.
continue dropping.
Yeah, absolutely. So that is why I've said that you have to identify where to put the repeater. So that is the one of the most important task. Okay. So if you put the repeater where the signal strength is very weak, it is of no use. Okay. So, or you are asking anything else? Okay. So uh, it is very important that you should identify the place where to put the repeater. Okay, so you put the repeater so where you know that the signal will not get weak. If the signal get weak and you put a repeater, I don't think there will be any use because it repeat the same weak signal. So that is why it's very important that you identify the place to put the repeater. Okay, so another thing is with the introduction of a repeater does not decrease the collision domain. It is as if that the by adding the repeater, the collision domain will remain the same. Okay, so whatever, if you put out the repeater from there, you are communicating with the single LAN wire. The collision that are happening on a wire are also happening inside the repeater also. Okay, so keep in mind with the introduction, that is a very important thing to know, because most of the people think that with the introduction of a repeater, the collision between in a LAN will decrease, but that does not happen. I will tell you where the collision decrease, but with the introduction of a repeater inside a LAN, the collision system does not decrease. Keep in mind. Okay, so there is another extension of this particular repeater, and that is called your hub. Okay, so you may have seen it in your practicals also, that I think that was your lab 2 experiment, that where you said in your topologies. Okay, so in your topologies, if you have seen, there is the third topology, that is your star topology. In the star topology, you may have seen in the presentation that there is something written here as a hub, and every device is connected to every other device. Okay, so in your lab, the instructor has shown you that what is the difference between a hub and a switch. Okay, so in the topology, you can use a hub, or in place of a hub you can use a switch. Okay, so but there is a difference between the both of them. What is the difference? I will again explain you. If you understand the first lecture about the OSI layer, so if you understand that which layer particularly do what task, so the main layers that you remember it: physical layer, data link layer, network layer, and transport layer. If you remember these four layers, I don't think there will be any problem. Okay, so now a hub is a multi-port repeater. Okay, so the previous repeater the previous repeater only contained two ports. Okay, so this is a port, this is a B port. So this was your repeater, it only contained two ports. Keep in mind that repeater is only of two port means that take a device and you put a plug inside the device, that if where you put a plug, that particular thing is called a port. Okay, so if you put a plug here, that thing is called a port. Keep in mind, don't confuse this with the port number, so that is totally a different thing. When I come to transport layer, I will tell you, so just don't confuse these two terms. Okay, so now a hub is basically a multi-port repeater. Multi-port repeater means that this was your repeater, it contains only two ports, but this hub contains more than two ports. Okay, so this one becomes your the devices that are connected there. It becomes your multiple devices that are connected to your multi-port repeater. Okay, so actually hub also contains something called physical layer. Okay, so it cannot understand anything, it's also a very dumb device. Now whenever you want to send a message from A to D, whenever you want to send a message from A to D, you will transfer your signal towards a hub. Now this hub will take this message and it will repeat the same signal in all of the direction, in all of the devices that are connected to it. Okay, so again, because of the functionality of the hub, there is a lot of the traffic. Okay, so there will be a lot of the traffic wherever you connect a hub, because the functionality of a hub is just whatever it receives, it just broadcast the signal to all of the devices that are connected to a particular hub. Okay, so now you may have thinking that what exactly is the collision domain in a hub. Okay, so actually it's so if you are thinking about it, the hub is nothing but a multi-port repeater. Okay, so if it is a multi-port repeater, suppose this is a hub, so here the four devices are connected to each other. So A, B, C, D. Okay. So if all of these four devices send the same signal at the same time, there will again be a collision between these four inside the hub. So that is also a very big possibility. Okay, so the collision domain, because it is an extension of the repeater, the collision domain in this case is the devices that are connected to it, that is your N. If the N devices are connected to a hub, the collision domain will again remain the same thing, that is N. Okay, so here keep in mind in hub, if you have physically seen a hub, I will tell you in this particular thing the traffic is very high. The traffic is very high because the whatever the hub is receiving, it is sending or broadcasting the signal to all of the devices that are connected to it. Okay, so if you have physically seen the hub, what will happen there, there are two lights. Okay, so the first light is your the power light, and the second light is your collision light. Okay, so the hub contains something called a collision light, and this particular light blinks continuously. Okay, so if you stand near a hub, you will see that this particular light will continuously be blinking to indicate that the collisions are occurring very frequent. Okay, so that is why hub, in particularly in case of a hub, the traffic is very high, due to which the collisions are well also very high. Okay, so the only advantage of this hub is that it's very cheap. Okay, so that is why this is very useful in many scenarios because it's very cheap. Okay, so now the another part, the next part, that is again a bit of a extension, or there are also different types of hub, you can read about it. So again they are also tried to define the working, to just change the working of a hub. But actually the passive hub, active hub, passive hub, it is again uh, uh, replaced by other things. Okay, so the other thing is your bridge or a switch. Okay, so now again the bridge now has a added functionality that it contains a physical layer as well as it contains a data link layer. Okay, so see here, a bridge operates at a data link layer. Okay, so if anybody says that it operates at a data link layer, so it automatically means that it also contains a physical layer and it also contains a data link layer. Okay, if anybody says that a bridge operates at network layer, so it means it contains a network layer, data link layer, and physical layer. Keep that in mind. Okay, so bridge is also kind of a repeater, but there are some functionalities that are again added there. Okay, so I'll tell you about it. So actually, why we use a bridge here? Okay, I'll tell you about a bridge. So okay, all the devices that you may have seen, they are connected the same type, the hub as well as a repeater. Okay, so they are used to connect same type of LAN. Okay, same type of LAN. But now a bridge has a particularly different thing about itself, is that it is used to connect two different LANs. Okay, so two different LANs. Why? What exactly is the meaning of two different LANs? I'll tell you about it. Okay, so it is used for connection of two different LANs. So now, how exactly the LAN is different? Suppose this is your bridge. This is your bridge, and at the left hand side of it there are some devices connected, and the right hand side of it there are some devices connected. Okay, so here the Ethernet LAN, so it is a type of a LAN. It is a type of a LAN. Ethernet means, I'll tell you about it. We have in syllabus Ethernet and token ring. I will talk about it. Don't worry. So just understand it that Ethernet is a type of a LAN. Okay, so it means that every devices that is present inside the LAN is connected via wire. Okay, so Ethernet is a kind of a wire and it's a standard. So Ethernet, you will understand Ethernet when I go into the frame format of Ethernet. Okay, so don't worry about it. Just remember that it is a kind of a LAN. Okay, in the same way, bridge is used to connect two different LANs. Okay, so it can happen that your devices are connected in a LAN with the help of a Wi-Fi, or there is another LAN that is referred to as a token ring. Okay, Just Wi-Fi, it's very easy to understand. Token ring is another type of a LAN. I will also talk about it in detail. Don't worry about it. Okay. So now just understand it that bridge is used to connect two different types of LAN. Okay. So this devices that hub the hub is not able to do that, but bridge is able to do that. Okay. So bridge contains two things, that is your physical layer as well as your data link layer. So that is there. Okay. So what is the advantage of this bridge? If you're seeing, so I'll take this diagram here. So if you remember that I'm talking about a LAN. So if I'm talking about LAN, I'm talking about in data link layer. If I'm talking about in data link layer, there will be some kind of a frame format. Frame, if you remember, we divide in data link layer, we divide the communication into framing. So suppose this is your port A. So this side is called port A. This side is called your port B. Okay. So now because this bridge has the additional functionality that it has a data link layer. If it has a data link layer, it can seize the source MAC address as well as the destination MAC address. This bridge now has the added functionality. It can go inside the frame and can look for the source destination MAC, that whoever is sending a particular packet or a particular frame to a particular device, it can also look inside the destination MAC. Okay. So now the communication is a little bit different. Now suppose these are your MAC addresses that are given there. So the MAC address is 123 here, 456 here. Okay. So now what exactly this bridge do? This bridge can this bridge makes this particular kind of a table. So this is a table where there are MAC addresses and there is a port. Okay. So MAC addresses is 123 and 456, and the port will be that which at which particular side the bridge is connected. So it is connected to a port A. So from this port, these three devices are connected. So I'll write A, and A. From this port, these three devices are connected. This is three B, and B. Okay. So now this bridge will particularly maintain this particular table to send any kind of a communication. Okay. Suppose this particular device, this one workstation that has a MAC address of 1 wants to send a message towards another workstation that has a MAC address of 4. Okay. So when the frame reaches towards the bridge, now bridge will see that where exactly is 4. Now it sees that 4 is connected to the B port. Now it will send this particular device to towards this particular it will send the particular frame to this particular device. Okay. So that is the functionality of a bridge, because it can go inside the frame and look for the destination MAC. It will only send this particular frame to this 4. It will not, the signal will not be transmitted to 5 or 6. It will only send the message to 4. So that is the biggest advantage of a bridge. Because of the added functionality of a data link layer, the bridge is able to restrict a particular frame going towards a particular destination. So this here is the biggest advantage of a bridge. Now if you see here, there are particular problems also exist in this one. Okay. So actually what was happened, that when the bridge was earlier made, in the starting of the bridge, what happens is that there is a particular problem in addition of devices in a LAN. Okay. So this is a Wi-Fi device. So suppose in a LAN there is a Wi-Fi, you take a smartphone and you connect it, and that smartphone was neither a part of the network. Okay. So this particular, because it's a Wi-Fi LAN, so you just take your smartphone, enter the password, and you connect it to a Wi-Fi. Okay. So now the new device is introduced inside this particular LAN. Now this particular one wants to send a signal to 7. Okay. So now what happens is that when this particular one, this particular device wants to send a signal to 7, what will happen is that signal will go towards the bridge. That is definite. Now the bridge will look at the MAC address. now it will not find the entry of the 7. The entry of the 7 is not there. Okay, so actually previously when the bridge was well initially invented, you have to do something called a manual entry. Okay, so there was a manual entry bridge that if any new device is connected or disconnected, you have to go through the table of the bridge and you have to include new entry or you have to delete new entry inside the table of the bridge. So in the starting there was a manual entry, but after that there was something. There are two variants of bridge that are invented there. So these two variants are again called a transparent bridge or a source routing bridges. Okay, source routing bridges. In what happens in these two bridges that this particular bridge is also referred to as a dynamic bridge. Okay, so it means that if any particular device is added or deleted, this particular bridges again dynamically add or delete from the table that they are maintaining. Okay, so these are the bridges in which stations are completely unaware of the bridge's existence. So that is also very important point, uh, that if a particular station, suppose there is a bridge there, these particular workstations are unaware that a particular bridge is present between these devices. Okay, so again because of this particular thing, the transparent bridges, there is also one problem arises. I'll talk about it after there is that particular problem was solved by a particular algorithm, that is a spanning tree algorithm, that is in your algorithm data structure and algorithm. Okay, so I'll not talk about it here. That's a completely different thing. So keep in mind that in transparent bridges, the but that is why it is called as transparent. Okay, so A will not be aware that there is a bridge present there. Okay, so that is the defining feature of this transparent bridge. Whether a bridge is added or deleted from the network, reconfiguration of the station is unnecessary. This bridge make use of two processing. The first process is called bridge forwarding and bridge learning. Okay, so now what happens is that this dynamic bridge, what it do, suppose if the device is suppose this is a dynamic bridge. I'll again take the same example. So suppose this is a bridge. These are the devices that are connected to it and the new device is introduced. Okay, so when the new device is introduced, now what this particular bridge will do, so it will first the so it will or send the message towards this bridge. Now bridge will look at the source and destination MAC. Okay, now at the source it will find that the source is 1 and the destination is 7. Okay, so now it will go towards the router and see that there is no destination, that there is no entry for 7 MAC address. Now what it will do, what it will do, it will send a particularly signal to all of the devices that are present there. So this bridge send the signal here as well as here. Okay, so now uh, with the acknowledgement that it get back, it will know that there is some new device is newly connected to me. Okay, so by sending a signal to all of the stations that are connected to it, it will by getting the acknowledgement back, it will know that there is a new device that is connected to me. So what I'll do, this it will update the entry automatically. It all the things that it will do automatically, that seventh device is connected from in my port B. Okay, so that is how your transparent bridge, that is why it is definitely known as, just wait a second. That is why it's known as dynamic bridge, or it's also known as learning bridge. Okay, so by sending a signal, by receiving the acknowledgement, it comes to know that it comes to learn that a new bridge is connected to me, so that it will again update the entry. Okay, source routing bridges are a little bit different. The responsibility of detecting a new bridge is particularly on the source that are sending the frame. Okay, so in these bridges, routing operation, first of all, the routing operation is definitely defined by the source. So it's a bit different and a bit difficult because the source had to do many things. So it has to also define that routing, that it will take which path. The source has to define that it will take which path, and the frame specifies which route to follow. Okay, so this particular source, suppose that I've given you example there. Okay, wait a second. I think it was there. Okay, so now in source routing bridges, what happens is that in source bridges, the source has the main responsibility. Okay, so source have to define the routing path, as well as it in the frame it has to define some particular thing, and there is something called a discovery frame. Discovery frame that is also introduced in this source bridge. Okay, so whatever if there is a new, okay, so I'll show you. Okay, so see, uh, the host can discover the frame. This particular host can discover the frame by sending a special frame called discovery frame. Okay, so now it's also the responsibility of the source that it has to make special frame that is called a discovery frame, to tell a bridge, a particular bridge, that I am sending a discovery frame because it is not there in your network. So particular discovery frame, the again the task is same. The bridge will again spread this discovery frame throughout the network to see that a particular bridge, a particular new device is connected to me. Okay, so they are both the same, but only the difference is the source. In this particular case, the source has more responsibility. More responsibility means that it has to define the routing, that which particular path to follow, and again it has to define something called a discovery frame. Okay, so if you know that a particular device is newly connected, you have to know about this discovery frame. So this is again introduced in the source. So most definitely we do not we prefer this particular uh, bridges less, because the source has to, because if you want to send a packet, it will take a little bit of a little bit, I think it will take a lot of time to see that which particular path to follow, because you cannot decide. Okay, so that is why there is another advanced devices to solve this problem, that is your router. But still understand this one. Okay, so most probably if a bridge is used, this particular bridge will be dynamic bridge, because it automatically reconfigure the network by sending the packets to all of the devices, and by getting the acknowledgement back and see that a particular new MAC is introduced in the network. So that is why this transparent bridges are more used than this source routing bridges. Okay. So now there are other advantages of this bridge also. So I'll tell you about it. So there is also something called a collision domain that we haven't discussed in this bridges. Okay. So I'll tell you about that collision domain also. Okay. So the first thing, that three F's are there. So the advantage of this is, the characteristic of this bridges are filtering, forward, and flooding with, and one more thing that is very defining there, that is store and forward. Okay, so this particular thing or this particular feature will affect the collision domain. I'll tell you how. Okay, so now what is filtering? That filtering is very simple thing, that suppose if you want to send a message from 1 to 3. Okay, so what I'll do, this again, I'll take a diagram. So okay, so if I'll again repeat the same example. Okay, so 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so if this particular device is a repeater, so you want to send a message from 1 to 3, what will happen? This message will go towards 3, and it will also go towards a repeater that sees that this particular repeater is a dumb device. It will again send the message across the other part of the network. So that I do not want. But if I do not use a repeater and use a bridge here. Okay, so now this bridge, when this particular message goes from 1 to 3, so actually the station 3 will recognize that the message is meant for me, and it will start reading the content of the message, but it will most definitely this particular thing will go towards the bridge. Okay, so now the bridge will see that what is the MAC, that the source MAC is 1 and the destination MAC is 3. So it will understand that it is coming from my port A. The port inside the port A, there is already this 3, all this 3 is already present there. So this 3 has already received the message. I do not need to do anything. So it will just store this and discard this frame. So there is no need of frame because the message is already received by the third workstation. So that is the biggest advantage of it, because it knows that the destination station is 3. So if the destination station does not receive the message, it will send it to it, but I think it already knows that the destination has received the message, and it will just discard the message. So that is the biggest advantage, and that particular thing is called filtering. Okay, so the bridge knows that that bridge has filtered out. So it is filtered out 4, 5, and 6. It does not send the message to 4, 5, and 6 because it already knows that the message belongs to 3. Okay, so it will only send the message to 3. Now forward is just a technique that you have to, whatever you are receiving, have to send the message across 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so if you want to send a message from 1 to 4, the bridge is able to forward the message. Okay, so the bridge when receives the message, it will see what is the destination. The source address is 1, and that destination address is your 4. So it will see and it will send the message to 4. So this particular thing is called forwarding. So this particular feature is also available in your hub as well as a repeater. Okay, so it just forwards the message whatever it is receiving towards it. Okay, so flooding means that it from both sides of the port, it is sending a signal to know that a new device is connected to know. So this particular thing is it achieved by flooding. Suppose a new device, that is a 7th, is introduced in the network. So what happens, how do this bridge comes to know that there is a new device? It from both side of the port, it sends the message. It sends the message and it will receive the acknowledgement. So this particular thing is called flooding. So from both sides, it sends a particular message to all of the workstation to see that a new device is connected or not. Okay, so now this is a very defining feature that will define your collision domain. Okay, so now store and forward means that suppose now this is your bridge. Now store and forward means that suppose this particular one is sending a message to 4. Okay, so now bridge has the capability to store this frame inside it. Okay, so it has a particular memory, so that memory can store a frame. Okay, so suppose at 11:01 this particular station sends a message to this particular station 4. Okay, so now at the same time at 11:01 this particular signal also this 6 wants to send a message to 1, and this 1 wants to send a message to 6. Okay, so now you both will go towards the bridge. Now inside the bridge, because it can store the different frames, so it can store the frame here, it can store the frame here, so there is no collision. So this is no collision because it has the capability to store. Okay, so uh, because inside it can store, and what it do at 11, suppose it 11:02 it forwards the signal there, at 11:03 it forwards the signal there. Okay, so I can say that the collision is somewhat decreased. Like in the previous one, any previous device does not has the capability to store, but this bridge has a capability to store. So that is why the collision domain here is decreased. Okay, so I cannot avoid the collision of these three things. So if all the devices at this side sends the same signal at all the times, there will definitely be a collision. So I cannot stop inside this LAN, I cannot stop this collision. Inside this LAN, I cannot stop this collision. But if a message from LAN 1 to LAN 2, if there is a message from LAN 1 to LAN 2, so that particular collision I can stop. Okay, So I cannot know that the what is the collision domain, but I definitely know that the collision domain here is decreased. Okay, so I can definitely say the collision domain is not n, but I cannot permanently say uh, I cannot what do I say? I cannot what do the meaning? What is the meaning? What do you call it? Okay, so I can say that the collision domain is decreased, but I cannot say by how much. Okay, so it depends upon a particular situation. At this particular instant, I cannot give you a firm figure that it is decreased by n minus 1, n minus 2, n minus 3. Okay, so I know that across the LAN there will be no, if LAN 1, if from one station from LAN 1 tries to communicate with other station to LAN 2, there will not be a collision between LAN 1 and LAN 2, but there will be a collision inside a LAN. Okay, so that collision is there, but the collision across the LAN is decreased. So that is why I've said with the introduction of the bridge, the collision domain is decreased. Keep that thing in mind. Okay, so with the introduction of a bridge, because we introduced something called a data link layer, with the introduction of a data link layer, the collision domain is decreased. So that is very important point. Okay, so keep this point in mind.
While controlling the collision, we will get a delay also, right?
Yeah, definitely I will get a delay because it can store. So that is why I've said that I'll just get back to this. That is why here I've said if it is sending the message at 11:01, it is again sending the message at 11:01 also 6:1. When suppose that message is received by the bridge at the same time. So suppose at 11:01 point some 25 seconds, that particular message is received by this gate. What is this bridge? Now it will see that these two messages are there. Now at 11:02, this particular bridge is sending a message here, and at 11:03, this particular bridge is sending a message here. So that is why I've said, because of the capability of storing, some of the collision may be avoided. Okay, or you are asking anything else?
No, I was asking the same.
Okay. Okay, so now that only thing is that the collision domain is decreased. Okay, so every devices that we have studied, the collision domain, there was no effect on the collision domain, but with the introduction of a bridge, because of the capability of the data link layer, the collisions are somehow decreased. Okay, so I cannot definitely say how much, but it is definitely decreased. Okay, so now again the switch is again based on the same lines. It is again it contains a physical layer and a data link layer. Okay, so now if you have used a switch, you may have find it is very close to a hub. Okay, so the only difference between a hub and a switch is that uh, it contains a data link layer. So if A wants to transfer its message to D, if A wants to transfer a message to D, it will directly be transferred to this D. Okay, so it will not broadcast this message to B and C. It will directly send this message toward this D. Okay, so again, there actually in inside of this switches, there are many circuits that are present. Okay, so if I want this A, the message from A be sent to D, so this circuit uh, is formed. Okay, so this A and D circuit is formed. So this circuit enables that there is a communication between A and D. So it is also possible that if C wants to send a message towards a B, so again this circuit is also completed. Now C, at the same time, C can send a message as well as receive a message. So the switch links are duplex or full duplex. Okay, so keep this thing in mind. So the switch links are full duplex. I think I've told you about full duplex, half duplex, and simplex. So in particularly full duplex mode, you can send and receive at the same time. So switch has the capability. All the links that are established in switches are full duplex. So that is the big advantage of a switch. The only disadvantage of a switch is is that it is very costly. Okay, so switch is very costly. Okay, so that is why now it is, because if you are seeing there, this is a multi-port switch. So if you have seen in your lab, you may have seen that your switch has 8 port, 16 port, 32 port. So now what exactly is a switch? It is just a extension. It is, with this particular device, is an extension to a bridge. Now bridge only contain two ports. Now switch contains 8. It comes 8, 16, 32 or 128. So switches are multi-port, very high multi-port bridges. Okay, so now again, there is a very important thing, is that the collision domain of a switch, the collision domain of a switch is 0. Okay, so there is no collision. Whatever device is connected to it, there is no collision inside it. Okay, so that why there is no collision. So suppose if you want to send a particular message inside a switch, there will never be a collision. Okay, so it is, all the devices are connected to different ports. If you are seeing, all the devices are connected to different ports. What is the problem with the bridge? All the devices are connected either this port, either this port. Okay, so the with the advent of multiple ports, all the devices are connected to different ports. So here is C. So if C wants to send a message to A, this particular circuit is completed. So again, if B wants to send a message to C, this particular circuit is completed, and the switch knows, this particular switch knows that B wants to send a message to C because of this full duplex. So this is also very good advantage of this switch. It can complete the circuit with B and C. It can again send the message because the link is full duplex. It can send the message. There is no collision. It can avoid the collision also. So that is why only a switch is the device inside the LAN that do not have any collision, that do not contain any kind of a collision. So all the functions, all the advantages of a bridge are there. Okay, so all the advantages of bridge that you have seen in the earlier thing are already there, with the addition that the collision in this switch is reduced to only 0, and there are full duplex things. Okay, so there are only full duplex link inside, and it's less traffic also. If you see, there is a less traffic because everything is connected to a different port, and it can appropriately send the message to anybody. So only disadvantage is that it is very costly. Apart from it, you will see, mostly if you have seen in your lab experiment also, that you have designed all the topologies using a switch rather than using a hub, because hub broadcasts the signal to all of the devices because it only contains a physical layer. With the help of a data link layer, it knows that what exactly is the source and destination MAC address of it. Okay, so again, only two devices are remaining, that the router and your gateway, and the type of wires. Okay, so these I will discuss in the next lecture. Again, if you have any doubt, you can ask me now, or you can move on to the next lecture. I think I've taken your time completely.